La no no me me no ma je yo bo do ja de no chu je jo la ja wa je ba no su je su ma ra de shi de vi ju ju de da she je da me chu ne se ne de she la ye ge no 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 je ge ya do da da me ge na do ro gu je da na je da tam je ge le la ge ju do do 맞아요. 남게 나도 좀 배신제 담지제 또 다른 놈을 봐도 보도 손지 공부는 뭐지 찐이요 더 봐자. 대지도 담비 주세요. 냠be 거노 군주 이름만 안 되고 봐서 담네 셈바르쇼.
Please listen by adjusting your motivation and your comportment or your conduct well by thinking to yourself, I must achieve the precious state of perfect and complete peerless enlightenment by any means for the sake of all the mother sentient beings who are equal to the extent of space. And for that reason I'm going to listen to these holy Dharma teachings.
다 consemplative 담배 주진 참네. 그러다 렌드 거지. 다 렌드 거네. 다다 삼년 주도 지다서 해서 해야 되지. 이 말이 다 되나요? 도마니 somebody 간지 제거를 아니 먹여와래 동아주와대 삼 이 말이 다 되라니 도공도 소다 조바체네 뒤따드 이 될 탑지간이 좋나 삼 대요네 레 레니 텐데 삼삼 아니 요자이나 유야메 말이 되는데 인생 뒤따드 이 용도 공부
And so as for the holy Dharma that we are going to be listening to, where we got to was the explanation of karma and its results, and specifically here we're looking at the section which deals with the way in which, having contemplated on the karma and its results, the way in which one should engage in the practice of virtue and abandoning of non-virtue. So the way to do this then is the kind of attitude we need is on the side of non-virtue, thinking about how non-virtue leads to suffering, and to reflect on this again and again, not just once or twice and then kind of giving up, but constantly, day and night, reflecting again and again on the how it is that non-virtue leads to suffering, and again, giving rise to the thought, or developing the thought, when can I become free of this?
다제 손지게 손나니 장애 몸보 용기요로 인다 무티진 카tombe 셰도 고사게 다요 버때 마다 텐데 용기요레 부모가네 코이네 코치바이 다요 도스야서 어다디 부모가 내 동전비 다요 받아 시즌에 요로 인다 뒤에서는 고지다 구비 온게 다지도 캐 다지지도 코인도 베로와지 공부하지도 따고 요래 달래 준비 때문에 손제 손데 다지지도 내가 마도 고지 구바 된다전에 당게 좋아요 말을 내 따라고 해야 돼.
So then, within the Buddhist teachings, we find there are many different. Anyway, there are many teachings which are definitive, which can be taken literally, and there are also many which are interpretive, or which require interpretation, which we can't take literally, but need to be sort of like interpreted towards some other meaning, towards some other sense. So, for example, there was Buddha literally taught the existence of a self in order to guide those who had leanings towards or inclinations towards the Chitika or non-Buddhist extremist philosophy, or the philosophy of the philosophy of those of the non-Buddhist philosophers of the who abide on the lower level of the view, and so in order to take care of them, then he taught the existence of a self. He explained that there is there is the person, the self, and that the aggregates are like the burden that's carried by that person. So he literally was teaching as if there were a self separate from the five aggregates. But this was taught for with a particular purpose in mind, and isn't to be taken literally. Whereas the teachings on karma and its results, these are to be taken literally. There's no purpose in teaching karma in such a way that it can't be taken literally, and so that it has to be sort of interpreted otherwise. The teachings on karma rather are to be taken literally. Yes.
The five aggregates is the five aggregates is the burden, and the one who's carrying the burden, that is the I, self. So, which shows that in order to say tame or guide the anti-Buddhist, who doing the lowest level, whose philosophy, see, the religion, so Mutekpa. So to guide that, then Buddha presented that way that the self exists separately, which say self exists separately from aggregates. So which is the interpretive meaning.
Murda, le tembe sonji sonde, ita sonji song yinba samji sungyo mare. Tenyo jeri jaja tamji pongwa ngon jor seyaji, mantawa go jor seyaji. Nde shindo go de chobase, teni jige somge nona, dezena somge nona duyo yorwa. Inda teni yodo de som pige songde la jeba chene. Pongwa ngon jor tembe chala noban do mendo. Enim jungzi go jor tembe chala noban do mendo. Ene shingo tembe chala noban do mendo taji chene. Da teji la noba meba. Nge yundu jeba samje tawa che. Da jeba samje tabi long yinza ene dachi tendo no medo yinba de rumyo.
And then, as far as these teachings of karmic cause and effect are concerned, it's not just a question of accepting their validity or accepting the truth of them just because of the fact that the Buddha taught them. Rather, there is some analysis which is required. And the way that this works is that there are three types of phenomena, or three types of object of knowledge. There's one which is considered manifest, which is like visible to the senses and so on. You don't need a reasoning to understand that kind of object. Then the second type of object is called hidden or slightly hidden phenomenon, slightly hidden object. And for this you need to rely upon logical reasons to understand. And then the third type of phenomenon is the very hidden kind of phenomenon, which mere logical reasoning can't, doesn't give you an understanding of. So what you would do then is, in order to analyze what the Buddha has taught, you would, in this area of the karmic cause and effect, you would first of all check to see whether what is taught there is harmed in some way by from the point of view of what it explains about the manifest phenomena. See if what the teaching on manifest phenomena is contradicted by that kind of understanding, and then see if there is to see if the
direct perception.
Yes, direct perception. That's what I missed.
The first one.
With the first one, you would be checking to see whether your direct perception harms or contradicts what's revealed on the level of manifest phenomena. And then you would use the inference. You'd see if inference harms what's been revealed on the side of the hidden phenomena. And then on the side of what's explained in that statement or revealed in that statement on the level of very hidden phenomena, then you would check to see whether it's harmed by or contradicted by inference, the level of inference which realizes the inference of belief, which realizes very hidden phenomena. And if having checked in this way and seeing that those three different types of valid mind, the direct perception, the inference of belief, and then the inference, and then the inference of belief, if you've checked and seen that what's taught in that statement isn't contradicted by or isn't harmed in some sense by those three types of valid mind, then you can conclude that what's taught in there is sound, is true, and it's in that way that you can gain this kind of conviction or understanding of what's taught in that statement, not just by accepting it just because the Buddha taught it. No.
Kaji Lombani Ngiba Nieba Sene Ledan Ribela Ngiba Majing Pedala Metzevane Tony Koa Chilo to Swate Tony Konane, Teni Deligit on the Tone, Nendela Ngiba Jevi Tros and Jewish Sherte Doteni Les Sumare Imbaritak Tendre Mumayon Chumbare Tesoyo Kaji Yungiore Tony Todios, that Tony Ngiba Nevana, in the legend that Secomares. A legend that say at so Tony Mahoke, Tendege, in Yamneche Ademato, Tony Tosona, and then Tony Chibucom the legend that Secoe Homaris had. Pedaka Jagane, something over Tonios, something over Tonsa, legend that Seco Mason. Really? Rayon, Kajene, Chonjus and Judy Jedios. The Chonjus and Judy Jeda, Karchin and Together, Lady Tego Maris and Yetende, Yungi Anadova. That the Janet Sinjador. Tony Koa Sinjado to somebody's. At the Kartena, Tony Koa Yina, that Ombani Yimbi Jim Senje, Legum de Namjala, Niba Cherudo. Tendejene, Legum de Niba Cheruchimaniza, Legum de Zayate, Cherudo. Tendej, Chumbayina, Tony Toba Net Sonitari. The Tony Toyos and the Legum de Martin Kende, Tony Qua, Net Masometari, yes, Sumba.
Then, in the Rinpoche has started again reading from the text. So in the English, you're on page 248, where it says some who claim that they have acquired certain knowledge of emptiness. So in the past and also these days, there are people who will say, "I've realized emptiness, and therefore I don't need to. There's no need for me to pay any to pay attention to karma, to take any notice of karma. The teaching on karma is something which is important for those people who haven't yet realized emptiness. But since I've realized emptiness, then there's no need for me to really pay attention to karma." And there are some people who say, "I've seen the nature of the mind. I've realized the nature of the mind, and therefore I don't have to pay any attention to karma." And there are also some people who will say, "I've realized bodhicitta. Once you've realized bodhicitta, then you can do anything that you like." And again, so their conclusion is they don't need to. What they're saying is they don't need to pay any attention to karma. But it is actually simply a question of having some wrong understanding or misunderstanding, some kind of perverse understanding of those areas. Particularly in the case of emptiness, once you've realized emptiness, then in actual fact your certainty about the workings of karma would become stronger, would become clearer. And in fact, if your practice of emptiness, your understanding of emptiness, does sort of reinforce and strengthen your certainty of karma, then that's actually a sign that your practice or your meditation on emptiness is really kind of getting to the point or hitting the point. Whereas if if your practice of emptiness is bringing you to this kind of conclusion that you don't really need to pay any attention to karma and so forth, then that's a sign that your practice or your understanding of emptiness really is missing the point. It's really just not effective. It's not hitting the point. No.
It's mistaken.
Is mistaken. No.
That chosen juve chete do teni le that thing is job do le juma chur mi ju lo ra shin juna dan ju yin da wa shin yes ima da de chu tam ji ro ji ma ro ba ta yi ba re yin ju de ro ji ma ro ba den yin de chu ji da me den yi wa ji den yin chu tam ji juma dan so ba re ta juma se ya de juma ken ji nga ze je le yin de kong la da do no bo so ngu su yo de ro no yong yo ro da nga ze je le yin de ti top je nong ge yo re de thong la da no cho yo ro se na cho yo ma re yo ma ro da de no shi chu tam je re da chu gong de gong yin na yo de la pa tan yin do sa de ji yo de yo re yin na yo 그런 롱은에 줘봐도 만도 때요 얘나 다기 따노 그런 눈에 따노면 노지 롱은에 맞아봐 차대요 그래 되는 주마다 그래서 나 대가는 이제 최 주어 최대 주어야 주어스냐 도스 저지 용기 얼어 얘나 대라 안에 그게 제연도 거나 닝보다 안 되게 최 뭐봐 임바레 얘는 주공도 공연하요 파 또비 다자마도 그런 롱게 눈에 닝보선도 소 접되냐지 내가 임바레 다 되노제는 미지어서 제마 저도 요 체연도 거나 다른 뭐네 주주되어서 그렇지 다 레다드서 텔라 저도가요 지금 여러 네, 이제 주 탐지에는 대노시 그게 다시 제용도 내도야서 매되게 이말 단노 잡든지 용요를 네 대노시에는 로동도 다 로서야 돼요 현다진이요 현다지 판로동에요 뭐 이제 그 용한 초윤도 있는 디 참네 로서야지 용요를 대노시는 주담지 그게 롱그 뭐 주베 거네 요르제네처럼 반로 되네요 말했어 강가로지도 마샤다레스 디 대노시는 주에다와 주노 만다와 노나는 주에다와 주노 나와 소녀 샤용요로 다 파다나는 다비스 녀지 농게 요래데 돈난 나와 줘요 말해 내가 노지 주 담지 그게 롱문에 좁더니 내가 이번에 되게 빼는 시간에 뒤주지 다음에 봐.
And then there's a quote from the same sutra, the King of Concentration Sutra, and that sutra states that all phenomena are empty of natural or inherent existence, and it gives various examples to to demonstrate how that is. So the first example that's mentioned is that of an illusion. So in the way that this works is if you have some magician or some master of illusion, then depending upon the recitation of mantra and depending upon the various substances, then they can conjure up the appearance of horses and elephants and so forth. So now, although those illusory objects would appear real, but they're not really there. They're not actually there. They're not actually over there in the way that they appear to be. In the same way, all phenomena exist depending upon their basis of designation, but they don't actually exist really over there in the way that they appear. They don't exist inherently over there in the way that they appear to be. And then also the example of a water bubble is given. So when you look at a water bubble, it has some kind of appearance of substantiality, but actually there's no essence to it. And in the same way, any phenomena that you examine is merely designated over there by conception, and has no essence at all, to it, nothing that can be found when you search within that basis. And then also the example of a mirage is given. So depending upon certain conditions, like the heat and the distance, like this taking place at a distance, so they can seem from a distance like there's water over there, depending upon the condition of heat and so forth on the sand and so forth, heating the sand and so on. So they can appear as if there's water, and certain wild creatures like deer and so forth might see that and go over there to drink the water. But in fact, of course, when they get there, there's nothing there. So although there appears to be that water over there, there actually is no water over there. And in the same way, all phenomena, although they appear to be existing over there, inherently existent, that's how they seem to be, but in fact when you analyze them, then you find out that they're mere appearances. There's just a mere appearance there, but you can't find anything inherently existent in the way that there seems to be. And then the example of lightning is given, lightning. So we know in the case of lightning, it's not as if the lightning came from somewhere and then it's there appearing in front of us and then it goes off somewhere else, rather due to some sort of upsetting or some sort of like disturbance within the elements. Then for a moment there is this appearance of lightning. So in the same way, all phenomena, they're not inherently existent. They have no inherent coming from elsewhere, and they have no inherent going somewhere else. Rather, in every way, they're simply lacking in inherent existence. And also, the example of a moon, the reflection of a moon in water is given. So, under the right conditions, then the moon, the reflection of the moon, can appear in any body of water. But in fact, of course, there's no moon there. And in the same way, all phenomena, they do appear as if they're existing from their own side. They do appear as if they're inherently existent. But when you analyze, then you find that there's nothing inherently existing there at all.
tenre thomba teyo toning awesome de tona mato jedajin de thon tu mare tenre yinda chajin thonga jawe choyin da jedajin de sigwan tar tu ga ngabate suji jomde le yin jawe choyin shi song so.
Then the text goes on to talk about how the sentient beings are, how the sentient beings go from die and go on to the future life and so on. And there's a phrase here which I don't think actually comes out literally in the English anyway. Shilikya, like anyway, Rinpoche explained it. It literally can mean born from so born from like consciousness, or born from the mind. But anyway, there are these terms like shilikya, shivu. It's just another word for the person. It's sort of a synonym for the person. And what it's saying is that there is no self of the person. So it's already explained in just before how it is that it's explained the selflessness of phenomena, how all phenomena other than the person are lacking in inherent existence. Now, at this point in that verse from this sutra, it's talking about how the person itself is empty of inherent existence as well. So people do die and they carry on to the future life, but is there an inherently existing person that does that dies, that carries on and so forth? So the answer is that there is no such person. It says there is no person, and when it says there is no person, then we can understand that what's being talked about here is the selflessness of the person. So in this way, this verse talks about or explains both the selflessness of phenomena and the selflessness of the person. So despite the fact that there is no such a thing as a self of phenomenon, then there is no such thing as a self of the person, still karma which has been performed, or karma which is done, does still meet one does still meet with the results of the karma which has been done, because one might think, is it the case that once you've realized emptiness, then you no longer would need to meet with the results of the karma that you've created? So this sutra is explaining that that's not the case, that despite there being no self of phenomena, no self of person, still all karma, once it's been done, one has to meet with the results of that. So it's still going to be the case that positive karma is going to lead to happiness, negative karma will lead to suffering, and this follows all very precisely and very exactly. And so the text then carries on to say, in terms of the explanation of this verse, that it's really amazing. It's a really amazing thing to be able to see how it is that these two fit together. On the one hand, everything being empty of inherent existence, there being no self of phenomena and no self of the person, and also seeing how it is that at the same time the karmic cause and effect still work perfectly. But as for really understanding how karma works, this is something that cannot be understood by an ordinary being. It's not something. It's not an object of an ordinary person's mind. It's something that only a fully enlightened being or a Buddha would be able to see. So it's making the point here also here that that it's really a wonderful thing to be able to see how the realization of emptiness, the emptiness of everything, on the one hand, and the sort of the perfect or the exact, precise way in which karma brings its results, that these two are entirely compatible. They completely fit together, is really quite an amazing thing. It's also something that we've come across before. It's an idea we've come across before in the teachings of Nagarjuna, where he explains that being able to understand, on the one hand, to understand emptiness, and on the other hand, for that understanding of emptiness to even strengthen one's conviction in or certainty of the workings of karma, that this is more amazing than amazing, more wonderful or more outstanding than outstanding. So he also praises that. So what he's saying there, and what he's saying here also, is that it really is a great mistake to think that when you've realized emptiness, that therefore you wouldn't need to pay any attention to, or to have any to give any regard to karma and its results. So that's like on the side. What's praised there is being able to see how these are not only compatible, but actually the understanding of emptiness strengthening one's understanding of how karma works and so forth. Otherwise, it would be like this passage that comes from Nagarjuna that we've also come across before, where he says that a wrong understanding of when those who are who have little wisdom have a wrong understanding of emptiness, then this is this then what is this?
Who has who, if one makes mistakes in the emptiness, then the one who has small wisdom will experience great loss.
Great loss.
Chuna rangshin, no, tongpa shi mo tarwa ja, no.
Chuna tongpan de shi ne.
No, tongpa de shi, no.
Chuna tongpan de shi ne. Le dang driver tenpa kang.
Le dang driver tenpa kang, mo tarwa ja, tingwa.
Mo tarwa ja, tingwa. Me chong we shin, de me chong. Da tina, tenri le nyi, yu dang driver je pa la ngi pa je ching. Nyen tsen kando gosong na toba shi ka ngen ro jo je, thongpa yung ri je nam ye na me ke ching. Chung se shi jo gosong pa yung sun yu pa ne, ngen ru gong je pa kong na te hes. Nimare tenyo da, len re sam se ya te, rong yu la ta pa che ne, rong yu la ta ne, ane ka de yung do ta ko yo res. Tenyo ne, ten je rewa yung wa, ta ju jen la ten ne yung ya te, cha she ten ne yung wa, ten je rewa yung wa se ya. Reta le nyi se yu le gemi ge nyi che ta gemi ge nyi ju che le nyi ju tin dribu deva dunga che tenre la ne ngi ba che ching reta yon da samde ne ngi ba nye ne nyin sen kundu gosom na to ne nyin sen kundu rong ge ne gosom ge jo ba te gewe so na rong do be gewe so na rong do 조바제 내는 먹이서 더 개회서 주고 들리지 주면이나 내로 줘도 그래서 들리지 마저마지 도마 준비제 남에 도마 마시바 신의 좀 근데 고소 반영해서 또는 먹이서 주고도 마가와지 반영해서 줘야이나 되네 준비开写对写就啊，那呢就对讲了，高上朋友给没给上有的人的，眼珠关节把看那日子，等眼上的家嘛都朋友嘛日送一个，等着人都容易了大呢，人就到这个日子。
The quotation before from Nagarjuna, by realizing the nature of the phenomena that is empty, by realizing the nature of the phenomena that is empty, then so anyone who realizes the nature of the phenomena that is empty, then revealing the action and result, the cause and effect. This one is more wonderful than what is wonderful. And this is more imminent than what is more imminent. This is more imminent than what is imminent. The quotation before.
And then, having understood karmic cause and effect, then it's no use just to leave it like that. The point is to then continually check one's own continuum to see whether one is acting in accordance with what one has understood. So it explains here that understanding the dependent relation to this, how phenomena are dependent and related, which means understanding how they depend upon the parts from which they're composed and so forth, and then understanding also the two types of karma, which refers to positive and negative karma. Then keep thinking, keep reflecting, keep analyzing, checking day and night to see whether one has one's behavior or one's conduct is in accordance with the teachings on karma and its results. And if when one realizes that, the point of that being that then one would abandon negative karma and practice positive karma. And if one does this, if one practices in this way, then it is possible for one to stop birth in the lower realms, to prevent oneself from being born in the lower realms. Whereas if we don't know how to do that, or if we don't know how to do that, we don't understand that, or we know but nevertheless are somehow lax in our practice, or sort of easygoing, lax in our practice, then the only possible outcome of that is that one would be born in the lower realms.
jamse shubale loye dabo chongju samanam ji chu chikin ne songen ro lo tong ji wa yon dabo jo to chu chi bo gong chen de da de da chi tar jor jin nin sen nan da jin do nyam de ge wi chu na so to ba de shi sum bi she ro ida ta ta yi shi de ya nin sen kon do rong go som de jo ba ji ne go nin sen da ya de kan de sen da gen do ta ne rong ge go som de jo ba ji 대내 개위주도 소소동게 소소도바 다 주지경에서 저거를 주지부 가르세나 단다 로그 고슴지 줘봐도 인생 가르세 나게 노냠도 다바 제네 개위주도 소도바지야 대리에서 소이 버.
And then there's a sutra which is quoted, the questions of the Naga kings of the ocean. This one down at the bottom of 248. Lord of Nagas, a single practice of the Bodhisattvas correctly puts a stop to rebirth in the miserable realms. What is his single practice? Is the discernment of what is virtuous. So what this is talking about is that, again, day and night, one should check, investigate and analyze one's three doors of body, speech and mind, one's activities of body, speech and mind, and then practice virtue accordingly, to engage in the practice of virtuous karma accordingly. And that is the one dharma, this single dharma, it's a single practice, the single dharma, the single practice which is being referred to here. It's that practice which will allow one to avoid being born in the lower realms after this life.
Yes. 대란이 담바 고만은 송게 네바지야겠다. 다 담바 고만은 송서 고요 아니 말에.
Then besides that, this practice of constantly day and night checking one's activities of body, speech and mind, and then depending upon that engaging in virtue and avoiding non-virtue, is also the advice, the advice of the previous, the previous, like lamas and gurus.
Tetara julata bana koma namje shayane le jumde je kamder chudo tambana ye matu nde ogochu dina ye metal lende da tune tune metu tawa yis imare nada gozom joba da taje maje be kabla chuba yin de gewa dugi yo sambaje ngyoji ta shebde tabachene ene kono kandes jegido ene nguji kabla kandes jegido jile kandes taje jewa yina 파제 는 지대 주주원도 쇼대야 주도 만들마 되게 차용요레스 달래 준비 되는도 거나 주도 만들 다 되네 오건 주 오거스다 안서서야 되지 바로 오건 주바래 다 되게 제가게 걔네 고바데 망에서 동안에 타르고 말에 다 되주네 내던 내 준비다 롱게 줘봐니 되네
Their advice is again to constantly check day and night, to check one's activities of body, speech, and mind, and they explain that if we don't check in that way, then we might have the impression and we might have the idea that I'm a practitioner. I'm practicing virtue and so forth. I'm practicing the path and so forth. But in fact, if you were to check up carefully, if you were to check your activities of body, speech, and mind carefully, then you would discover that most of what you're doing is mixed up with the thought of the eight worldly dharmas. That it's not in accordance with the Dharma teachings, and specifically, it's not in accordance with the teachings on karmic cause and effect. And this is where we go wrong. This is where we're mistaking, and it's because of this. Having made that mistake, that we would take birth in the lower realms after this life. So for this reason, it's extremely important to constantly be aware and to check one's activities of body, speech and mind to see whether they are actually in accordance with the Dharma or not.
So here, so this become great loss, and then we never get liberated from the lower realms.
Yes.
Chuje ranju shuda shezana tumba yeme mandu bala she tabane teta riju jona keba yinde somne jiba konji jiba shi shiba tende keba yin shi sonso renta chuje ranju shuda je yundu gona rene tombo 다 주도 만들어서 놓지 마도 가고 저기 여러 근데 주도 만들면 정말 되라 주도 만들면 임마 년 타반에 롱게 롱나 단 레멘도 삼바 되는지 정말 있나 되게 말해요 내가 좀 내내 이제 단다 손야 소 되자 좀 세대야 되나나 지바 공지 지바 시바 되는 개발이 희송소 이 말에 만두바 신은 조가지 아주 좋나 근데 개발해서 말다.
If we are able to use the Dharma to check one's activities of body, speech, and mind, and we are able to conclude that that everything that we do is completely at odds with or incompatible with the Dharma, because in fact at the beginning it would be quite rare or quite difficult to find that a person, it's practically impossible for a person to be, of course, find everything they're doing on the level of body, speech and mind compatible with the Dharma. So when you begin to look, you find that whatever you're doing, it's not in accordance with the Dharma. And then having seen that, if you develop a strong sense of regret, where you're thinking to yourself that this state of affairs, this situation is really not very good at all, then such a person is regarded as wise. And in fact, this is something that we find in the Buddha's teachings. The text that's quoted here is Som, or the collection of collection of has the idea of collected verses, collection of teachings. So that says that the person, sort of the childish or the immature person, who investigates their behavior and finds that what they're doing is not in accordance with the Dharma, and then feels regret for it, that person is wise.
jiba kongshi jiba washi shiba tenden keba yinyes jomne sunya de rida genon jela nidong chong yinbare genon den joba ji shine da jiba se na samna tong ma shinke ro jela se ge ro bu chung chung de jiba se ge arji da te jiba se de gona samno ja chen bo tong ma shinke tende yinbare yedo da nga jiba reja nidong chung song jibi nongge jiba re se gon joba chen yundu jomne nege da choyan niba shiba de yago re da jiba kongji jiba shiba de keba re se song yinbare.
At the time of the Buddha, there was one fully ordained monk, a Gelong, who upon looking at his activities of body, speech and mind up to now, discovered with a great sense of regret, or concluded with a great sense of regret, that he had accumulated so many vices and mistakes. And so generally speaking, a person whose actions of body, speech and mind are nothing but like negative and so on, not in accordance with the Dharma, would be regarded as we could call immature or childish. This word jipa has on one level it has the implication of being a child, but it means somebody who's not really able to think, but who's not able to think very extensively. And so he had this great sense of regret. And when he spoke to the Buddha about it, the Buddha explained to him that the person whose activities were like that, their body, speech and mind, their activities were not in accordance with the Dharma, but felt a great sense of regret for that situation, who realized that and felt a great sense of regret for that that situation, such a person is a wise person.
Thinking that I'm the child among the children, so realizing these vices or these mistakes received, that one is a wise one.
Nimbartande ronju de taba chebe kabla ningma lama kumana anje diu karbodan nabodan sa da ronge ene gozum joba chuden tundo mendo ta ne megewaje toba che jona diu naboji to da gewe toba che chebe kabla diu karboji ja tende diu tong nung yo so are yede tombo da nabo bashi kabo me de so no chi thoma da ji chi da tende ji ri ju chona ke ba re se dan da so no da tene ka le ne nabo de nyoro kabo moro pe da ji no ji no do che me na yu ne kabo bashi yu ya ji yu ju re tende se ne no ne ji da ji
So when checking one's activities of body, speech and mind in this way, then the previous great practitioners, the previous great lamas, have advised the practice of keeping like some white stones and black stones, and so checking one's activities of body, speech and mind to see whether they are in accordance with the Dharma or not. If one realizes that one has had some kind of negative thought, then what they would do is they put down a black stone, and then when they realize that when they check and they can see that they had some positive thought or some positive deed, then they would put a white stone down. So in the beginning, then such practitioners will find that basically there's just this huge heap of black stones with very, very few white stones. But this is the way in which one. This is a good way to practice. And then by continually practicing this way and analyzing this way and practicing accordingly in the sense of again trying to avoid the negative actions and practice the positive actions, then the situation arises where the heap of black stones gets smaller and smaller, and the heap of white stones gets or pebbles gets larger and larger until you get to the point where there's
more and more.
Yes, the white stones get more and more. So then you reach the point where there are the situation is reversed. There are very few of these black pebbles and a large heap of white pebbles. So the message here again is that the main point, the sort of essential point here, is to check one's activities of body, speech, and mind again and again, and use that and the understanding you've got from checking to get yourself to practice virtue. Yes.
Da chudon tunzana rokubata jamnodo somala chubadon kyustunje yonse rena jibi tache yinde somle jiba konje kesamba tende jiba shi jodo shi sumbees da ronje chudo tunyundu chudo dana mantiwa chudo jamge zono jamnochi 단동 주바도 계승이 삼에 보바 요되게 대주로다 다기 공대 중간된 거지래 돈이 더 돼요 개발이 레줌데 제거위 매서 레줌에 마시바이나 다데 집에 놓게 다시 두슈되래 대원은 처음에 집하고 계속 뭐 되는 집하시 돈라 그게 집하고 차대요 이나용 개발 인상에 돼 근데 집에 놓게 집하
Now, if you then if you compare your actions of body, speech, and mind with the teachings, the Dharma teachings, and you see that that everything that you do is the opposite of Dharma, then if still, even though your activities of body, speech, and mind were the complete if you were to see even if they were the complete opposite of the Dharma, and yet you were to think that you are some great scholar or great practitioner, like we had in those examples above, where you have the possibility of somebody realizing emptiness and thinking that they've realized emptiness, and thinking that because they've realized emptiness, they don't have to pay any attention to karma and so forth. So it's literally mentioned in the text. It talks about carrying a corpse. So the point is, this is an example that's really appropriate for Tibetan. It's a sort of Tibetan example, because there wasn't really the custom of carrying a corpse in a coffin. What they would do is that they would sort of fold the body up and tie the wrists together, and it would be carried on the back of on the person's back, facing the opposite way from the way the person who's carrying the corpse is going. So you have the idea. Sorry,
back to back.
No, it's back to back. So the point is that, like, the corpse going in the complete opposite, looking in the complete opposite way from the way that the person is walking. So if it's like that, in the sense that what you're actually doing with your actions of body, speech, and mind is in the complete opposite direction from the Dharma teachings, then it would be like that. So then, despite the fact that your activities of body, speech, and mind are completely opposite from Dharma, still thinking to yourself that you're some great scholar or some great practitioner, then
the very top lineage or the very top, the pure beings, holy beings.
Then this would be like the worst of the the childish, or the very worst of the
childish,
or immature.
Childish one among the children.
Yes. Yes. Anyways, no.
Child among the children.
Xie sumbe manda nayo chula xie somji songo. Da manda nayo chula xie somji sonya. Yinde xie yes. Da xie se na sem shiba da de ko yoji. Yinde chiba da don me shi ke la chiba xie ma je ba se yo. xie ma je ba, lo ya ma je ba se ya ke so de ba da xie je ba se yu du bu da dong de xie de de je je xie je ba se yo ba de dan da ma da na yo chu de xie ye som xie se de ma da na yo de chu ji da dong le ga bo le de ba da ge ba ju ya le na bo le de ba do ju ya de 다도 시바지 다도 시바지네 근데 솜시 섬노 동시 있어야 하지 임벌에 다다기도 지바다 취다 뜨는 거래서 그런 거 좀 줘봐대 개에서 너도 먹이면서 너도 뜨는 거래서 내가 뒤 넘기서 만다 나요 레줌 되게 다도 시바지네 섬 거래서 해야지.
And then there's a sort of a couple of lines that come up in the text, which basically summarize what's been explained, or no, sort of like make a conclusion about what's been explained above here about analyzing your actions of body, speech, and mind, and to see if they're in accordance with the Dharma. So it says, at least then, what you should do is to get to know how to check whether your actions of body, speech, and mind are in accordance with the Dharma or not, whether they are actually virtuous or not. At least you should try to understand that.
Think at least one think the meanings, the teaching, the meaning of the words from from the virtue, the result happens from the non-virtual result suffering. So this one reflects those meaning of those words.
만다나 주라 시에 somji 제외 나타내지. 다 요 주라 시에 소마지 세야지 소다 많이 봐라 차적. 니추라 시에 소마지 세야지 요힘 버리. 다 대제이나 시에 세야 돼. 시에 체세야. 마지 세요. 마지 마삼 세야서. 주라 시제 마지. 주라 시제 마지 세야도 다 주는다 된다서 말해야 되다 계정 말해서 세네 본인 감치 못서 된는 데 말해서 이 말에 단다 롬돔베서 이와 저거봐 년감 첼메로 내 좀데 차스 된다서 말어 어디서 너무 소미와 말
디스 도좀 맞아
근데 시제 마지스 시에 소마지스나 주라 시제 마지스 시제 마지스도 다 주는데 된다 소말에다 대다 계획 말해서네 인감 침부서 이다 단다 롬돔베 피함네 요요래 줘봐 인감 침메로 이제 한번 침부 맞이해서 하자 인감 침부 첼메로 낸데데 차 레줌데스 차시 사가리 된데 인감 침부지 된데 제가 말했어 바로.
So then this can also be understood to mean that one shouldn't sort of treat that kind of, I think we can say, shouldn't treat that lightly. Shouldn't think of it as being something very simple. this practice of analyzing one's actions of body, speech, and mind, and to see whether they're in accordance with the Dharma or not. And this is similar to a sort of a quote from Dom Tompa, which is going to comes up just below in the text, where Dom Tompa says, much like, don't be sort of like, don't be sort of like arrogant, humble. I don't know.
So here,
Greedy.
so what is saying here, at least the Tibetan term,
Be arrogant maybe.
At least the chola she sumshik sungo. So which is saying that means you see, at least you should learn, you should understand the she is the mind. So I should understand the meaning of the words, about karma, teaching of the karma, the meaning of the words. One should learn, and one should reflect those. Then that's the Matanang Chola Shemye Sumshik Sungos, the words written there, meaning is that. But here, this is talking about the words expressed. So at least Chola Shemye Ma Sumshik Sungos, Ma Sumshik, Chola She Chola She Sumshik, people from there, Chola She Sumshik. So now, next one, Chola She So, then put dirt between the So Ma. So Chola She So Ma Shik. So the second one, the second meaning is, oh yeah, in the teaching explained the karma like this, but doesn't matter, So I think, oh yeah, in the teachings explained like this, this can happen, you see, but it doesn't matter. So so then that, so this second way, chola shembe so ma shik, then that if you so ma between, if you separate, and so ma separate, then there's a dot between that, then it has this meaning. The second meaning, in the teachings explain that, karma like this, but it doesn't matter. So then the Dom Tompa advised that I'm not sure how to translate the cho. Loan.
Juoba, you come Chenmo.
Cho the Karu. Takeru Kandena.
Cholas,
I think so. Chocho, I'm not sure what to translate.
Elder brother.
Cholak, no. Chocho. This one you can say anybody. Chocho, not elder brother. So cho, just aware because expressing, like, yeah. So I'm not sure. I don't think it's a Mr. or I'm not sure, sir. I don't think it's sir. But anyway, so cho it's calling the person. Dom Tompa is telling to somebody. You see, cho, you shouldn't be. I'm not sure that one I didn't find. I think I saw, but I've forgotten now the English term. That shouldn't be very brave.
Brash.
Shouldn't be very brave. Heart, because the karma is the action result is the cause and effect. The karma, the action. The karma, the cause and effect is very subtle, so shouldn't be brave-hearted. Means say, hamba. I'm not sure. So shouldn't be brave-hearted. Being careless, and shouldn't be like that, because karma, the cause and effect is very extremely subtle.
That both of us, 지럽진데 tran에 줄라 따고 봐시대 지게도 남가던 사실 봐요. 잠도 바로 들은 라면 샤노니를 왔대요. 받도 담지 대외는 시송데 파바론 자도 춘이지. 배 대다단 잡아 반난 정치 뭐 여벌 송소. 이제 보도에 지럽게 쓰는 전에 줄라 따고 송바래서. 더 배단다 세번호 나가다 사실 바른 보다. 근데 잠도 바로 저러는 뭐 샤놈지를 파서 다른 머리 대한 어지 파방아로 서다 담비 주니요 파는 정치 뭐 요래서 다 다기 노지 근데 대 배대다던 라와이는 정치 뭐 요데 론주 주다 동동도 연애요도 따고 그래서 보도에 됐어.
And then it mentions how Potoa, Gezi Potoa, quotes from the Jataka stories, the stories of the past lives of the Buddhas of Bodhisattva, and so that's quoted here, and it uses quite simple examples to talk about the sort of the vast difference, the sort of the chasm of difference between the way of practicing of an ordinary person and the holy Dharma, and these examples are quite straightforward. The huge gap between the sky and the earth, between the distant shore and the close shore of the ocean, then between the mountains, and also that's the third example that's given. And so this again is making the point that it's important to examine whether one's activities of body, speech, and mind are in accordance with the teachings of the Dharma. It's making the same point.
That so the between the sky and the earth is a long distance, and the other side of ocean and this side, both the long distance, and between the east and west. Between those two mountains, east and west, also long distance. So like that, between the non-dharma, between the non-dharma, so I guess worldly activities, and the holy dharma, there's long distance also between that. Non-dharma and dharma, there's long distance.
다 로줄라 다 다버쳐야 돼 개체 모르겠어. 대님마다 나디 지제 되게 된게요. 근데 지제인데 지제인데네 정심 다베 잠실리 시지 체험 바신다. 송동포는 놈비 주소. 다자 돈 거에 장고마 자센 다와서야지라 제바시베 갑라 근데 잠실시라 주소로서 근데 잠시 단다 지제의 손들거나 지제들라 세송 동분에 지제의 놓아이 버. 근데 되게네 주다 가도 공변도 시제야 돼. 그러면 로주도 따고가 소용이 자대는 자침부제네 세송 동분. 그래야 세송 요이 버.
Sorry, I made a mistake. That before I said there's long distance between the ordinary and the holy dharma. I relate to the dharma activity, but actually here is the next the described next in the meaning. The ordinary us and dharma, like those examples, the long distance. So that's what comes next. That's the meaning of the last quote, the last verse.
You mean ordinary us, like we ordinary people?
We ordinary people, yeah.
Yes. So this is a verse which teaches how important it is how extremely important it is to check one's activities of body, speech, and mind against the Dharma, to compare them with the teachings of the Dharma. So this is a teaching that was given. Basically, the Buddha in a past life as a Bodhisattva was once born as the Bodhisattva Chandra, or the moon, and so he received this teaching from a Brahmin teacher, and because he regarded it as so precious, so important, because he had to, for him, he had to engage in this practice of checking his activities of body, speech, and mind to see whether they were in accordance with the Dharma or not. And so, for this reason, he gave the Brahmin, for this teaching, he gave 1,000 sang, or a certain type of coin, so 1,000 golden coins, in order to receive this teaching. Yes. So also there is a teaching or a quote from the Tolungpa, and it's saying the same thing basically. He's saying that it's important, also he's saying it's important to check one's activities of body, speech and mind, compare them with the Dharma teachings, see if they're what you're doing is in accordance with the Dharma or not. And he says that if you really check, then you would find that your activities of body, speech and mind are completely opposite, completely different from the way they should be according to the Dharma teachings. And if you were to just leave it like that, then it's just like a ball of string that's sort of like rolling down the hill. It'll just, all that's going to happen is just going to get further and further away. There's nowhere else for it to go. So if you were to leave things as they are, then things can only get worse. But rather, once you've seen that, having really checked, if you see that there is this vast gap or vast difference between your activities of body, space and mind and the Dharma, and then try to change that situation and try to act in accordance with the Dharma, then this wouldn't happen, and then you have the possibility of improvement.
The ball of the thread. So if we drop from the mountain, then it will only go more and more down. So like that. So like that. So like that example, then if you are sober, not account Dharma, then if it's left like that, then the Dharma, say yourself and Dharma, like that example of yourself and Dharma, more and more distant. So then by realizing that, and then to say that helps to, by realizing this, that helps to change, to become Dharma.
Imarita, Rojila Tagoya, Tela Nitanda, Sonja Son, and Naja Commandamje, Sundru, at the Jig Jen, Jermuke, Chenmo Sono, the name of the gender, or Rojichu to Madu Tayate, Chenmo Imare.
The necessity to analyze and to check one's actions of body, speech and mind is something which the Buddha himself taught. Jerim She Lam Tsongkhapa has quoted Buddha himself as teaching this. He's also explained how the previous great beings and teachers also taught the same thing and emphasized the same thing. So clearly Jerim She himself, Lam Tsongkhapa himself, considers this this practice extremely important and is advising us to practice like that, and therefore we should conclude from this that we must check our actions of body, speech and mind and see whether they are in accordance with the